Hey everyone, Metal Horror Gamer here, and E3 2019 is finally upon us. And starting off, it is EA. Yeah, big whoop there, right? But for me personally, the official start of E3 doesn't start till tomorrow with Microsoft. Unfortunately, I'm going to be working all day tomorrow, so I won't get to watch it until after 7 o'clock at night. But whatever, today we have something to watch and talk about, and that is EA. And sadly, there is not much. Because we all know EA is a crappy company. But they do own a lot of awesome IPs like Army of Two, Battlefield Bad Company, Burnout, Command & Conquer, Crysis, Dante's Inferno, Dead Space, Def Jam, Dragon Age, Fight Night, Mass Effect, Medal of Honor, Need for Speed, and Titanfall. Just to name a few. And how many of those games were shown off at E3 this year? A grand total of 0. Yeah, none of those IPs were shown. So what did they show then? Well, okay, let's go over that right now. And I'm going to express my thoughts and feelings on everything shown. And believe me, this isn't going to take long. The presentation started off with the only game people cared about when it came to EA this year, and that was Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. But unlike EA, I'm not going to talk about that until last, because I have more to say about that game than all the rest that was shown. So besides Star Wars, what else is there? Well, they talked about the upcoming season for Apex Legends, along with a new character and a gun. Like, who the fuck cares? I'm not a little kid who plays Fortnite, so any news on EA's version of that crap doesn't interest me. Okay, so far the plane has hit some turbulence, but let's keep going. Let's see if it'll clear up. Next up is Battlefield 5. Okay, seriously, who is still playing this game? Who cares about what's coming out for it? All there is some DLC, which gives us new maps and a new chapter that takes us up to the Pacific Theater. That would be all well and swell if the game was any good. Oh, and they also announced that Battlefield 5 is going to be on Origin Access Basic. Yay! Come on, EA. You know what fans want. A new, bad company. Is that so hard for you to deliver? Why release DLC for a game that most fans didn't buy thanks to being told not to buy the game by you? So for these next two games, I'm just going to combine them because both of these games have no reason to be shown at E3. That is FIFA 20 and Madden 20. Seriously, EA. Sports games don't change enough to have or even deserve a spot at E3. Most of the time, the only changes made are the fucking rosters. Maybe some new animation here and there, maybe one new feature, and more additional ways to nickel and dime you with in-game purchases. Plus, E3 is mostly meant for the hardcore gaming crowd. And you know one genre that most gamers fucking hate? Simulation sports games. Why even show those off? Now, I like some simulation sports games, but I don't want to see them at E3. They're not worth showing. Those games could be announced at any time. They come out every year. So there is no hype for these types of games. Enough with the sports games, EA. They just don't have a place at E3. This just shows you how fucking lame EA is. They think that this is what's gonna hype up gamers. Like, oh yeah, are you ready for the next version of a game that you got the year before and the year before and the year before? EA's E3s aren't planned to hype up gamers with badass brand new games. It's designed to keep the boardroom happy by showing games that are designed to be rip-offs and steal gamers' money. If anything, I would say this lineup was planned by the board members. There's no way anyone who loves video games would come out with this pathetic lineup for E3. And for the very last announcement, they showed off a new expansion to The Sims 4 called Living Island. Again, who the fuck cares? So the whole E3 presentation only showed off one new game. One. And yes, I don't count fucking roster updates as a new fucking game. EA, why did you even come to E3? All of these could have just been released as YouTube videos at any fucking time of the year. You should have just showed off Star Wars during Microsoft's press conference. There is no need for you to even have your own fucking day. EA, you are simply irrelevant when it comes to E3. You showed Nothing. You have so many IPs, and you have nothing worthwhile to show off. EA, go home. You're drunk. You should have just skipped this year and come back when you actually have new games coming out. So, now let's talk about the only game worth talking about. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. First off, let me say, Star Wars does not excite me. I love the original trilogy, and the prequels were meh at best, but everything else after that sucks. Honestly, for me, the Star Wars brand died when Disney bought it. First, they canceled Star Wars 1313, and then they gave EA exclusive rights to the brand, and then the final nail in the fucking coffin was the new films. All fucking horrible. Force Awakens was just a New Hope, but worse. Rogue One was just made to explain why the Death Star had a fucking hole in it. The Last Jedi was the slowest space chase you'll ever see on the big screen, and Solo just flat out sucked and was an irrelevant film. The latest film for this shitty ass trilogy looks just as bad as what came before. So yeah, I don't give a shit about Star Wars anymore. It's a dead fucking brand, but I am interested in a new Star Wars game that isn't shitting on Pandemic's legacy. Jedi Fallen Order is a single player experience as far as we know, and hopefully it fucking stays that way. But I gotta be honest, that trailer doesn't impress me. And you should be cautious before you start hyping yourself up, because this trailer might be fake. Yes, there are plenty of times that E3 demos and trailers were only made for showing off at E3. And those trailers were never representative of what the real game will be. And yes, EA has done this before many times. They did it with Anthem, and they did it with Dragon Age Inquisition, to name a few. Speaking of Dragon Age Inquisition, I recommend reading or getting the audiobook of Blood, Sweat, and Pixels. That book covers the development of multiple games, including Dragon Age Inquisition and Star Wars 1313. It's an awesome book, and some parts of it does show how many E3 demos and trailers are just made purely for E3. So, be cautious when it comes to Jedi Fallen Order. Just tell yourself this might not be real, okay? So, enough of that, let's begin. First off, who the fuck is Greg Miller, and why do you have to have him here? He wouldn't stop yelling, and he is just so fucking annoying. You do know when you keep telling the audience to clap and be hyped for something, it comes off as fucking desperate and sad, right? He wouldn't stop begging the audience to show emotion. Like, what the fuck, dude? Just let the audience be natural. Stop begging for that shit. And I also want to state, am I the only one who thinks the character you're playing as looks like Andy from Toy Story 3? Is it just me? Maybe. While the trailer is meant to look impressive and awesome, there was a lot here that just feels bad. But let me state, I don't hate what I saw for the most part. I think with polish, this game can be really fun, and I will keep my eye on it. But what is a trailer for if not to criticize? So let's criticize. First off, let's discuss the first encounter with the stormtroopers. Their animations look pretty damn stiff, and they look so confused, like they weren't sure what to do, as if they weren't trained for combat at all. Their dialogue was atrocious for the most part, with lines like movement after witnessing fellow troopers being killed. Movement. And when there was only one left standing, he says, "Taking aim." Taking aim. Like, who the fuck are you announcing that to? Your squad is fucking dead. That first look at combat was just not that impressive. But that can be easily fixed if EA gives the development team time to fix it and polish it. But for me, it kind of gets worse. When the player gets to a hallway and sees some scout troopers, those troopers slowly jog at him. Like, they move with no urgency at all and look to be running underwater. And they put up zero defense. Like, it's like they're here just saying, "I'm just here to be slaughtered. Please end me." Then when he gets to the big bad trooper, he has horrible lines like, "I will make you hurt." I will make you hurt. Isn't your objective to kill him? Not make him fucking hurt? I don't know. It just comes off as cringy to me. On a side note, whoever was recorded playing this demo seemed pretty bad at the game. He kept getting hit constantly. Hopefully in the final product, combat won't be as stiff. Now, I did like the scene when he sees the troopers fighting those bugs. I mean, it's cool because it just happens and you just walk in on it and you could just sit there and watch, or you could jump in and disrupt them. That's pretty cool. And I want to see more stuff like that throughout the game. Now, the graphics and environments look like what I would expect from a modern game being shown at E3. So nothing bad there, but also nothing to be impressed about. I like the platforming sections. A lot of people are talking about how it looks like Prince of Persia / Assassin's Creed / Uncharted. And you know what? I'm fine with that. After all, Star Wars 1313 was meant to be a Star Wars Uncharted. But since EA is making this game now, it begs the question, why didn't you just let the team of developers who you were going to bring into EA from LucasArts that were working on 1313 finish the game? They wanted to. EA, you could have had this game years ago, and it looked fucking amazing. So why create this game now? Because honestly, this doesn't look as good as 1313. And that was kind of depressing me. I'm like, yay, we are getting a modern Star Wars game that looks to play like Uncharted. But then I'm like, oh yeah, we should have had that already if it wasn't for stupid ass Disney and EA. But 1313 was the past, and Jedi Fallen Order is now. Overall, I thought Fallen Order looked okay. Not bad, but not amazing either. Just average. Now, that doesn't mean at release it won't be a fun game, but it just doesn't wow me right now. That could all change. And as long as it's fun, then who cares? That's all good. It's okay. So overall, EA's E3 show was bad. I mean, really fucking bad. It was just DLC and roster updates for the most part. EA as a company has no reason to be at E3 unless they had new games to show, which they clearly didn't have any except Star Wars. But I'm not surprised though. EA gave me what I expected from them. Crap. They always show crap and just more useless shit. Hey EA, E3 is meant for new games, not DLC. Seriously, could you be any more fucking irrelevant? Okay, that's it for now. I don't know what EA is thinking, but that's enough for me. Let me know what you thought about EA's E3. Did you like it or fucking hate it? I'm honestly more excited for tomorrow's press conferences, especially Microsoft, because I feel like Microsoft is going to come out blazing with the big guns. Should be really interesting. And, as always, stay safe out there, and keep on gaming, gamers.